I'm Father Steve Sundborg. I was the president of Seattle University for 24 years, and I'm currently the chancellor there. It's a Jesuit university in Seattle in the United States. I'd like to speak to you about how do we apply discernment in common to boards, for instance, boards of schools or universities or centers or other institutions. It's an increasingly important area because discernment in common is always about mission or purpose, and these boards have the responsibility of holding in trust the mission and the purpose of their institutions. There's a challenge in applying discernment in common to boards, however, in that the members of the boards don't have the same kind of background that most other people would have in doing discernment in common. They often come from the civic and the corporate world, so there need to be some special kinds of considerations in applying discernment in common to them. The first one is a lot of time needs to be given to understand really clearly what precisely is the issue or the decision that they want to discern about. What's the background to it? What's the context? How much have they prepared for it? How much do they know about the data or the information that are involved in it? And what's the level of communication and trust among the board? That's important for the facilitator to know and to understand that. The second thing is that I think it's important to see discernment in common as complementary to the actual vote that a board of an institution or a school takes in respecting their own structures, their legal structures as a board. Discernment in common can be complementary to it. It can enrich it. It can inform it. It can help understand the values involved in the decision that's to be taken, but it shouldn't replace the way in which the board takes a decision in its own meeting. So separate the two of them. The discernment in common do first, and then have the board at its own time, maybe not even that same day, but another time, make its decision. Because the members of a board are very used to discussion, they have to have a lot of instruction about the difference between decision and discernment. Decision is a back and forth. People question one another, they give an idea, someone counters it, they ask a question about, they build on it. Discernment in common means you have a free space where each person is free to say from their heart what it is that moves them in regard to the proposal in front of them. And they need to know that no one is going to ask them about that, no one's going to comment about it, no one's going to counter it. They simply are free to express whatever they are going to express. That's very different from discussion, and it's important for boards to be able to know how to do that in a different kind of a way. I find that it's helpful to spend extra time with board members, to take them and to guide them in prayer, because they're not used to maybe having the kind of prayer that others might have, and also to take more time than usual to help them enter into a welcoming kind of a silence that supports them, that they're at ease with. You need to take a lot of time because they're used to engaging with one another in a decisional kind of a way. Actually, one of the most important things to work with boards is to create an environment that's very different from a board environment. In other words, have them come together in a circle, not around a table, to leave behind all the business kinds of materials and just focus on three kinds of presence. Presence to themselves, presence to one another, and presence to God. Just make it a different kind of environment, otherwise they're going to fall into discussion. There's a couple things that are particularly difficult for board members to work with in discernment in common. One of them is they believe they should have an outcome for every meeting they have. There should be a product, there should be something they achieve. Discernment in common doesn't necessarily lead to an outcome, an achievement, a product. And you have to make board members okay with that being the case. It can enrich a decision, but it doesn't need to come to one. Also, the biggest difficulty is to keep them from drifting into discussion, to try to fix things, to try to resolve the issue, rather than to just give their felt response to what it is, the proposal that's in front of them. Now, we do find that all board members, irrespective of their faith, are able to enter into discernment in common. As long as they're able to be attentive to and to read their inner movements of their heart, and if they're free to be able to express them, and simply to hold what other people have to say. That's not easy for them to do, but they can do it. I think it's a testimony to the fact that the Holy Spirit dwells in all persons, irrespective of faith, and that people can enter into discernment in common if they're properly prepared. So those are some of the items that are important to know about working with discernment in common. Again, I think it's a very important area for us to move into because they are the people who hold the mission and the purpose of these important institutions that they serve. I think it's also important to note that You need to have a facilitator that knows their world. It should be someone external to the board, but it needs to be someone who understands what is the way in which you exercise governance through a board. How does it work in relationship to an institution? What are things about finances and legal things? The more a presenter is like one of them, the more there will be trust, and that's an important thing. So I think there needs to be some special preparation for facilitators who work with boards in the way in which we've spoken.